DCeased, War of the Undead Gods, issue 6. Tom Taylor writing with Trevor Hairsine on the art. So this is issue 6 of 8. We have Kilowog's planet's gone. Times are getting very, very bad.
Poor Superman can hear every life on Bololak Vic, be snuffed out by the anti-life virus.
Oh, I totally forgot about the opening couple of pages with Lobo being hired to save the universe. That doesn't come up in this issue, which is why I forgot about it.
Yeah.
But it is at the start of the issue.
It's at the start, and he's like, why should I go help? And they're like, we'll give you, your heart's desire. He's like, I am fine with money. And basically all the perversions you want.
But
that's what does the deal.
He even says, no, but that'll get boring after a while. It's like, no, well, we will have a think tank to keep making it interesting. We'll keep somehow spicing it up and changing things to keep you entertained.
God, he's disgusting.
So Spectre's fighting the zombified Mixapetalik, which is the big cliffhanger from last issue. And likewise, this issue also has a huge cliffhanger at the end where...
Yeah, buddy.
So the Spectre wins, right? With the help of Superman, the Spectre actually wins this fight at the end of the issue. But he gets knocked out of the Spectre gets knocked and he ends up dying. Like Jim Corrigan dies.
Yeah, because Undead Mixie, uses his fifth dimensional stuff to rip the host, Jim Corrigan, away from the Spectre. So without a host, the Spectre can't be there. So it's kind of like this Pyrrhic victory where they beat the Undead Mixie, but they lost the Spectre. Yeah.
so Mixie dies, but it separates Corrigan from the Spectre, which leads to who becomes the new Spectre at the end. And this actually I thought was quite well set up because they've really been playing in this particular series Alfred's guilt over losing the Bat family because now there's a cure. And the final trigger in this issue being Leslie's death. And because, basically the big thing on Earth 2 is that the mother box, because the one's corrupted and they're all connected, they're all corrupted. So all of these zombified, like High Father and stuff start showing up.
Yeah. Undead gods, if you will.
Yeah. And Leslie dies. Leslie Tompkins. Yep. And Alfred lets out a scream. And I like this moment. Is like Alfred's like, you know what? I held back a scream when the Waynes died. I held back a scream when I had to kill the Bat family. But it finally, this scream came out. And the big ending of this, and this is more of just Tom Taylor having fun mixing all these things together, is that Alfred becomes the new Spirit of Vengeance. He's the new Spectre. And it just looks like the Spectre, but with the little Alfred mustache.
Yeah, I was going to say, I love that it's just the Spectre, but with the mustache. With the Alfred, the thin little... And it's a good image, though, right?
It's a fun image, yeah. So that's their big cliffhanger.
Yeah, but what leads it to that is it's one of the undead gods are just beating the utter piss out of Damien.
Yes.
And he feels helpless, right? He just lost Leslie, and now he can't do anything to save his last grandson. Well,
now he can,
well, now he can, and that's that vengeance, that thirst for I should have done more, that's what brings it to him, and so I do like that, because it is his care that's feeding the vengeance. But yeah, other stuff we get in here again was Superman feeling all of the the lives that were lost on Kilowog's own planet, and them trying to figure out how can they disperse a galactic scale of the cure, right? Like there's kind of only so much they can do. So it makes me wonder what Tom Taylor has up his sleeve.
I'm sure there's a solution that Taylor's got picked out for them to figure out for the end of this. I was thinking, because I enjoyed this issue, and every issue of this book I have enjoyed, and it's always had the fun thing, especially by the end, there's usually some fun twist in how it mashes two ideas together, or, in this case, it's Alfred becoming a Spectre or whatever. But certainly, I think this one in particular has felt less exciting than the previous ones, and I was wondering why that is, and I think part of the reason why it might be is that because we're not on Earth anymore, because the first few miniseries, especially on Killables, which is my favorite of the whole thing, it was like, okay, so we start off with all the DC characters on Earth, and we're sort of mixing and matching and doing these fun things where Canary becomes a Green Lantern, we're doing these things where other characters are becoming other roles, and we're seeing different combinations of characters team up that we'd never see normally in the DC universe. I think the reason why this one feels a little bit less special is that while we're still technically doing the zombie stuff, and we still have stuff like Alfred becoming Spectre, is that because we're doing all the space opera stuff and we're like jumping around to like Apocalypse and Darkseid and New Gods and everything else.
You have the whole concept of entropy and Erebos, you know?
Yeah, no, the point I'm getting at though is that this feels a lot more normal compared to the other ones, because I think when we're jumping around space and we're going to these different New Gods and we're going to like just these different characters spread out all over the place, and we're talking to Mr. Miracle and Bard about using boom tubes, this feels more like just a normal DC event. It isn't, because the zombies thing's still there, but it doesn't feel as special to jump around all the characters in the same way, because it feels more like a normal DC event versus the original DCeased, which felt different because like all these characters were dying. But we're kind of at this point now where some of them might be able to be brought back, and I don't know. Like I was having this thought as I was reading this particular issue that this Unkillable, or the not Unkillables, sorry, the Undead Gods miniseries specifically, at this point it doesn't feel as special anymore. It doesn't feel bad. I'm still enjoying it, but it's not as like monumental as those early minis were.
Do you think too that also having read stuff like Vampires, DC versus Vampires, and then
it's diluted it a little bit.
Yeah, and then the fantasy one, who I'm drawing a blank on right now.
Dark Knights of Steel, but also Jurassic League, also DC Mech. Yeah, it's maybe DCeased was special when it started, but now they've tried to do it with like tons of different versions.
Yeah, you know, and again, nothing wrong with this, but I was kind of, not that I was bored, but when I was reading through this week, I was kind of, all right, next page, and then it hooked me back again. But there's a lot of good stuff in there too, like Scott and Barda talking about they have to go to New Genesis because that's where their son is, and they're willing to go fight this virus again to bring their son. So there's some good like story beats in there.
Oh, for sure. Like I don't want to be that negative on it. It was just compared to the earlier books that it felt a bit more focused. This just kind of feels like it's just more of a normal DC event. It just happens to be these characters that are still alive that are the main characters.
Yeah. Well, and it felt too like we know there's an end game, in this, that, with like Unkillables, right? There's so many moments in there where it was like Taylor going, yeah, why can't I do this? The Tree Shrimp team, with Grundy and Deadshot and stuff, and Cass, and then the Mary Marvel reveal, like there are these big moments that had this unlimited potential. And here we kind of know, like, all right, we kind of know what this is. And we know that, you would think that it's kind of end with a cure because that's why they introduced it. But yeah, no, again, nothing bad. I think the art too is a little bit, I feel like it's wonkier, but I don't know if that's just a stylistic choice by Hairsine here. Like the Spectre and Mixie stuff.
I mean, I've always thought Hairsine's just okay. Like, I thought the Unkillables book had better art anyway. Yeah. On top of that'd be my favorite part of the story. But I don't know, there was a thought I was having why this one doesn't feel as much of like an exciting event as the first couple did. And I think it's just because because of where it's went, it feels more like a conventional just space opera DC story versus those early stories where it felt like it was like breaking everything in the universe. It's still in a little bit of it here or there, but it feels a lot more normal by comparison, and I think that's partly why it feels a little bit less exciting. But still solid, still easy to read. Characterizations are still really strong. Like, it's still a good time. It's just not as special as it once was. All right, what are you giving War of the Undead Gods issue 6?
I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Yeah, I'm happy to give it a 7. It's still good, but it's not as special as it once was.